Hello, friends. We all know that the satellite phones are commodity which is kept only with the elite, and they are very, very expensive. First of all, you have to basically buy a very expensive satellite phone, and then you have to enable it, buy the service from VSAT or Satcom, etc. These companies. So all that is changing now. There is a space race sort of going on in terms of communication, and a lot of people are now providing broadband services directly beamed down to your homes, to your devices. And India has also taken a very, very special step to boost this segment, and that is about bringing new changes in regulation. The regulation were announced on 5th of May, but applicable from 1st of April 2022, giving a very big boost to the satellite broadband and satellite telephones. So when it comes to satellite broadband, we have to briefly understand what is satellite broadband. The broadband is basically a term given to the network provided into your home. So far, the broadband comes to your home through a cable. With that cable can be a copper cable, or it could be a fiber optics cable. But however, there are changes which are happening in the industry, mostly driven by the Elon Musk Starlink, and now a lot of companies are coming forward and providing that facility. It is basically a bunch of satellite around the earth which are always looking towards the earth and enable the network services, which is the broadband services, directly beaming down on the surface of the earth. There are a lot of advantage of having a satellite broadband. Number one is that you don't have to lay cables. Number two is that as long as you have a satellite over your head, you will be connected to the internet, and that is a very, very big thing, because then your location does not matter. Right now the cable comes to your office or to your home, and you have to be present to use the broadband services from that location. But if you have a broadband beamed down on you wirelessly from the space, then you can move around with your devices, and location does not matter. I mean, location matters on the surface of the earth, but you don't have to stick around to your home or to your office. So now, because of this, there is a new trend which is emerging, and to make this satellite broadband viable, the cost has to come down. I mean, that is what the whole point is, and that is why there was a license fees in India as per the regulator. As you know, friends, the regulator in India is TRAI, and the Department of Telecom is basically the governing body. So DOT announced that they will be removing the transponder fee for the satellite based broadband services. So far they were paying a transponder fee, the telecom operator was paying transponder fee, and the receiver was also paying the transponder fee. If you are you have a satellite phone, like a Satcom satellite phone, you got to pay a transponder fee to the Department of Telecom or Government of India. So all that is now going away, and there is whole lot of competition now brewing, because India being a very large country, and in order to lay fiber optics across, it's a very humongous task. At the same time, even if you lay the fiber optics, then the usage is limited to the location where the termination point is provided. So the need of the hour is that if you move around, travel in your car, you should be always connected and access these services which are available on the internet. And as you know, friends, most of the calls are now being taken care by WhatsApp and messengers, and so on and so forth. So it's no longer the analog calls which people are making. People are now getting indulged in making video calls, video meetings, etc. So internet is revolutionizing, and to access the internet with mobility is the next step towards progress, and that is why this license fee has been removed, making it simpler for consumer and also for the telecom operator to reduce cost. Basically, even though you have a satellite, you don't want to their effect of the costly effect of the satellite launch, etc., and the cost of the satellite to percolate down to the consumer. It has to be in the same range as a wire broadband. So removing this fee will bring that change, and as a result, there is a huge lot of competition now emerging in India. The Airtel is already launched their satellites, and they are also partnering with other satellite providers like Starlink, etc., to augment the countrywide satellite broadband network. And they will be able to beam the whole network down to you, and then you don't have to really bother about interoperability, etc., etc., because if you have a receiver which you can get your internet or your PC with capability to access the internet directly without a router from the space, that is what the industry is moving towards. So Airtel is investing. At the same time, Starlink themselves have applied for a license with the DOT. So they will also, they already have the technology, they have the satellite overhead, and they will be given permission. And once this transponder cost is reduced, there is not much complication in terms of pricing. All the Starlink and all Airtel and etc. will have to do migrate their captive customer base to this satellite broadband. So Starlink is also getting in the race. Reliance Jio is also preparing a big time for launching satellite broadband services, and Jio is now crossed Airtel in terms of broadband services. We already know that Jio is number one telecom operator in terms of internet. So they are also preparing. They are tying up with few satellite operators globally, and coming out with this satellite broadband services. So I think these are some remarkable changes which are going to happen in 2022. And Tata Sky is the India's largest TV network company. Most of the people have this set-top box of Tata Sky in their homes, and the TV transmission is beamed down via satellite into these set-top boxes wirelessly. So it is logical for Tata Sky to migrate to the next level, where they can actually convert their entire TV network into a satellite broadband and provide additional services along with the entertainment, provide internet, provide video calling, provide all sorts of things. So Tata Sky is a very, very serious contender in providing satellite broadband services. So this is also entering, and believe it or not, the largest of them is the BSNL. I mean, this is a surprise wildcard entry, and they are launching the world first narrowband satellite based broadband services. So as you know that BSNL telephones are everywhere. I mean, all the offices have BSNL, all the government offices have BSNL telephones, which is the biggest segment in India. And also a lot of people use BSNL even today for their voice calling. So again, BSNL, if they launch a satellite broadband with advantage of mobility, they have a captive customer base which will migrate into a satellite broadband services. So all consumers will have to do now is to upgrade their devices and upgrade their systems, or probably there'll be a small device which you need to buy from these telecom operators. I think the solution will be figure out that if you buy a new device with satellite broadband capability, what is the charge? Or if you have an old device, old PC, and you still want to use satellite broadband, what is the charge, etc. So I think whole permutation combination will be figured out, and the market will drive all this. So I think this is a big change. The biggest advantage, as I said, is that you can move around. So if you have a need for mobility, then it makes sense to migrate yourself from your fiber optics or a broadband fixed setup to a satellite broadband, which provides mobility, and then you can move around without any drop in connections and all that. And as you know that dropping of connection is also a big thing here in India. So once you have a satellite, or one or two satellites providing you broadband, the question of dropping of your calls or dropping of your internet will also be resolved. So I think this is something very big happening, and I thought I'll talk about it in the morning brew section. If you have any comments, and if you know more than what we have discussed today, feel free to send in your comments. And as you know that I respond to each and every comment of yours. As always, thanks for watching, and I will meet you in the next one, friends.